Hello everyone, welcome to today's show. My name is Spencer Walter. Thank you for joining us here today. We got a great one for you today. U.S. breaking now is going to restore sanctions on Iran following their withdrawal from the nuclear deal. Hundreds of Wells Fargo customers lost their homes due to a calculation error, a computer glitch, according to them. New polls are showing a progressive win is in Michigan governor. Michigan governor's race is within arm's reach, but can Abdul El Sayed pull it off? We'll take a look. Apparently, according to Robert Jeffress, he took to Twitter and said, "God loves capital punishment," in response to the Pope saying that God indeed does not. And we have two more stories that we are going to discuss today. Joe Arpaio says he's probably going to let Donald Trump blow him. He'd probably let Donald Trump blow him in the latest Sacha Baron Cohen dupe. That's going to be actually my first time watching this. And apparently we're probably going to do this one before because I do want to say that one. Because, I mean, you know, it's Monday, so it's Sacha Baron Cohen React Day pretty much here on the show. And that we're also going to be talking about Donald Trump. Apparently he's watching tapes of his own rallies. Like, I mean, I know this is kind of a little bit of an it's not very much of a big deal, but like he's watching tapes of his own rallies as the president. He commentates them. Like it's so disturbing. Like, I mean, like, is anyone getting work done there? It doesn't seem like it. So yeah, anyway. Yeah, New York Times writing today that the Trump administration said it would restore sanctions on Iran that had been lifted under the 2015 nuclear accord at midnight on Monday, ratcheting pressure on Tehran while worsening the divide with Europe. So a lot of different interests here, and you got to be honest, like, this seems to be really almost directly a product of some of the anti-Iran rhetoric on the far right that you see with people like John Bolton and all those guys. They are totally in the pocket of Israel. They are all evangelical Christians. I mean, you know, Lindsey Graham in the air. His deepest fantasy, Lindsey Graham's deepest fantasy, is to have a war with Iran. So, like, that definitely seems the way he acts and the way he portrays himself. I mean, he wanted to go back into Iraq. He is dying with a war for the Middle East. It's just more of a provocation. Damages the U.S.'s view in negotiations. Like, if they make a high-stakes negotiation with anyone, like, why would you do it? Why would you do it? It just shows you again and again, time and time again, that America, even if you do a deal with them, in the case of Iran, in the case of Libya, similarly with Gaddafi, there will always be some sort of a backlash, some sort of a blowback here in this situation, which is pretty much what's happening here. So they got the sanctions right back on them. The new sanctions are a consequence of President Trump's decision in May to withdraw from the nuclear deal with world powers. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said on Sunday the goal was to get Iran to change its ways, including ending all nuclear enrichment and curbing its weapons programs, as well as ending its support of brutal governments or uprisings in the Middle East. So, like, yeah, it's very funny because we, including Donald Trump, the Republican government right now is supporting bombing of innocent children, women, and adding to by Saudi Arabia. I'd call that a pretty brutal government. Just they're nonstop bombing the crap out of Yemen. They're adding to the civil war. They're adding to the tensions. And so, I mean, like, I don't think it's going to be much of a. I mean, I really don't think, in terms of supporting brutal governments and brutal uprisings, I don't really think we can throw stones on that. Like, we gotta be honest here. Yeah, including ending all nuclear enrichment and curbing its weapons programs, as well as, ending support of brutal governments uprisings in the Middle East. That's what the reasoning and logic for that was from Mike Pompeo. And European officials have said that the Iran nuclear agreement is crucial to their national security. International inspectors have concluded that Iran is complying with the accord. Key point. I just had to put that key point. So we gotta know what we should do. We got to give Iran a round of applause because they are doing this the way they should be. No problems here, according to almost all inspections. There is no evidence to suggest that they are not following the nuclear accords, and this seems to be just disrupting it because they didn't like the deal, and they thought Iran would be given an advantage, and they want to see Iran destroyed and in serious trouble. So we're all on the same team, and it's not because of anything to do with the nuclear deal, because this is helping Iran get nuclear weapons. Doing this is helping Iran get nuclear weapons because they're going to continue again with their nuclear program, and the U.S. is not going to really be able to stop them unless they go in, which is hint, hint, hint. If you see what I'm saying, you get the sense that a lot of Trump's people wouldn't mind that very much, to say the least. Anyway. Yeah, so that's the situation. The new sanctions bar any transactions with Iran involving dollar banknotes, gold, precious metals, aluminum, steel, commercial passenger aircraft, and coal, and they end imports into the United States of Iranian carpets and foodstuffs. They represent one of the few major foreign policy initiatives on which Mr. Trump and the rest of the administration and the Republican Party probably agree. We're very hopeful we can find a way to move forward, but that's going to require enormous change on the part of the Iranian regime, Pompeo said on Sunday. They got to behave like a normal country. That's the ask. It's pretty simple. So again, this has nothing to do with the nuclear deal. It has nothing to do with, because they don't care, really. It's not their primary focus to see Iran get a nuclear weapon. But they do care about... They really do care about getting Iran under control, getting Iran limited, getting Iran tamped down, which is just kind of pretty much upset the balance of power and really upset the way things work in the Middle East, which we've tried once before. It's very dangerous, and it's not a good idea. And the fact that they're messing with this balance of power is something that it's not a direct threat to us. And the fact that we're provoking this amount of what is really unrest in the continued campaign by the GOP to limit Iran is, to me, it's very disturbing. Because, what's going on here? Yeah, so in a speech in May, Pompeo demanded that Iran end all nuclear enrichment and development of nuclear-capable missiles, release all American citizens, and end support for Hezbollah, Hamas, the Islamic Jihad, and Houthi militias, and withdraw its forces from Syria. And by the way, the thing Saudi Arabia is doing in Yemen is another proxy war with Iran. And the fact that I don't know really too much about the government in Yemen, and the Houthis aren't particularly good people, but the fact that we're supporting the Saudi Arabian coalition, which is shown to be awful to civilians, is really unacceptable and just really, really bad stuff. So yeah, he said such changes would be consistent with global norms, although the enrichment of nuclear material for civilian purposes and the development of rockets is allowed under international law. Additionally, Russia, Turkey, Iraq, and the United States all have forces fighting in Syria's 7-year civil war. They want also to withdraw the forces from Syria, and it's not like we all have some blame to go around in Syria. It's just the Middle East. Again, it's a very complicated mess, as I'm sure you probably heard people say. In a conference call with reporters on Monday, senior administration officials said they were simply looking for a change of behavior from Tehran, not for a change of government. So let's see about that. I think that is very, very interesting that they said this on a conference call, because what I'm going to do now is type in. You may be able to hear it. Microphone quality obviously a little bit loud here today. I'm going to type in John Bolton regime change in Iran. Let's see. And the first thing that comes up is, here's John Bolton promising regime change in Iran by the end of 2018. This is an article from March 23rd, 2018 by Robert Mackey of The Intercept. So, and here is this situation. John Bolton will be... He was speaking here at some sort of a conference of some sort, and at a Paris gathering of Iranian exile group, or MEK, or the People's Mujahideen. John Bolton said this here And he tells MBK supporters that they will overthrow Iran's regime.
And that's why before 2019, we here will celebrate in Tehran. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and that just so happens to be Trump's top national security advisor. Oh, but we don't want regime change in Iran. No, never. Like, that's not what we want at all. Like, okay. Like let's be real about this. Yeah, some analysts have voiced fear about Trump administration's decision to go ahead with the sanctions despite resistance from Europe, Russia, and China. They worry that other world powers could find ways around the American-led financial system, undermining the success of sanctions in other areas. So, I mean, we still could find a way to be kind of outplayed on this. So it's it's a very disturbing thing as well. So the European Union on Monday also updated blocking a statute that seeks to protect European companies from any penalties imposed by the United States for doing business with or in Iran. So, yeah, so European companies are going to be pretty much avoided this. And, like, this is, again, another example of, in the Trump administration, the far-right positions that America has on this issue, and a lot of other issues right now. This is them taking a little bit of a, just so much more of a separation and a step away from Europe, and that is going to be very disturbing, really, at least to a lot of people, just to say the least. All right, so we move on to our next story of the day, a very, very disturbing story, and, yeah, and it continues to do the whole stuff with Wells Fargo. Really, that's what some people are calling it. After banking giant Wells Fargo admitted last week that as many as 400 homeowners were accidentally foreclosed upon after a calculation error in their accounting software, which affected certain accounts that were in the foreclosure process between April 13th, 2010 and October 20th, 2015, when this error occurred. So just by computer glitch, hundreds of homes were just foreclosed on. People were in the foreclosed. It was just some sort of random glitch. So the admission that hundreds of people were completely screwed over by a computer glitch came in the bank's most recent SEC filing, which stated that as a result of the error, approximately 625 customers were incorrectly denied a loan modification or were not offered a modification in cases where they would have otherwise qualified. So they want to modify their loan, and they were denied that in cases which were when they should have been granted that, pretty much. In approximately 400 of those instances, after the loan modification was denied or the customer was deemed ineligible to be offered a loan modification, a foreclosure was completed. So they just, it just happened, loan modification denied, computer glitch, loan modification denied again, so on, and then the foreclosure was completed. According to the filing, the discovery of this consumer effing computer error came after an internal review of the company's use of a mortgage loan modification underwriting tool. This was the latest scandal involving a massive financial institution, which this spring was fined $1 billion by the government for transparently crooked predatory practices, including forcing customers to buy unnecessary auto insurance, opening more than 1 million deposit accounts without the customer's permission, and applying for credit cards for more than 500,000 customers without them actually telling them that they were going to do so, or the customers even asking for them. All of a sudden, you got a credit card. Hey, you got a credit card. Like, what the hell? So these are clearly predatory practices for which they were fined $1 billion for. And in their SEC filing, the bank promised it will continue to assess any customer harm and provide remediation as appropriate. To that end, and we trust them to do that. To that end, it claims it'll set aside $8 million for homeowners. How about like $2 billion? Because that's should be what you're. Hopefully, they're going to get fined, but some sort of punishment. Because this is like, geez, whose modification decisions may have been affected by the calculation error, and hopefully, they can put aside some money for better computer systems so people just don't lose their homes because of computer glitch. That would be most desirable, to say the least. And so we're all hoping for that benefit.